Assalamualaikum guys. So we come to the most anticipated lecture or chapter whereby this session we will be connecting to database. The specific database that's available inside Laragon is MySQL. So basically you can view this tutorial in desktop. We propose you view this tutorial in desktop, or otherwise the code will be so small that you cannot see exactly what the source code means. And we also have the ebook version of this tutorial available from bit.ly/phpcarol. In this chapter we will connecting the PHP script to the database tier, which is the database MySQL. So basically MySQL is a database server, In Laragon we have one application that will be used to administer the MySQL, which is HiDSQL. Later I will show you how to use a HiDSQL. Bear in mind that MySQL is your database server. A database client will communicate with the database server, and the database client normally has the interface to access your database, to manipulate your database, to create new table, new database to your database server. So by right in Laragon, you need to start the server comprised of a web server and the database server. The web server is Apache, the database server is MySQL. So here in this Laragon interface, we can create a new database. Okay, we will be creating a new database called new system, and then later we will insert a new table inside the new system, and then you will creating a database, a table with ID, name, address, and date of birth. Then later you will insert row. Okay, insert row. This insert row function is to populate or to create dummy data inside your table. So basically we will be having something like this in HiDSQL. Bear in mind, HiDSQL is only your database client, database interface. And then after that, you need to create or to communicate, to link, to connect your database with your PHP script. This is how we use the PHP script, by using the MySQLi_connect function. So I will show you this in the lab exercise. And there are few or several MySQLi functions that are available in PHP that we will use, okay, most of the time. So one of it is MySQLi_query, whereby we run Sql Command to the database from the PHP script, and MySQLi numRows is to count how many rows that is fetched from the MySQLi_query. And then maybe you will also fetch one record using the MySQLi_fetch. Okay, so these are three important functions that are available in PHP to connect to your database server. Somehow or other, you will be using associative array. This is how we access each field from the record retrieved by the SQL query. We will also be demonstrating how to embed SQL command to your PHP script. This is one way of retrieving your data, your record from the table students. Okay, new system. And then we can list all these record that is retrieved from the database. So first thing is you need to go to your Laragon laragon. So make sure to turn on this start all, so that we can have our web server and our database server. Okay, so you can access the Heidi SQL or the database interface from this button, database. This button. Okay, most of you maybe don't have do not provide the password for the root users, so you can simply leave this password blank, though this is not a good practice. And then click open. Okay, if you are setting your database with password, just make sure to provide the password. If you don't have the password, not sure whether it is password or not, so make sure you just provide null. By default installation of laragon, so you don't have to use the password. So here I got the new systems. My system already have the database new system, so I would like to change into something else. Okay, the database, how to create a database, new database. You right click the laragon, this laragon icon, right click and create new database. The right click laragon, create new database. So let's say I would like to have another database name, something like you make sure to have your database with only one word. Okay, make sure to name your database with only one word. If you prefer to combine several words, so make sure there's no space. Make sure there's no space. Make sure no space. Then click OK. So right now we have me. In my system, I have a database name, new system. And then when we have this new database, we should add a new table. Create new table. So right click to the database name, the new database name that you just created, create new. Right click here, then create new table. So I prefer to use as inside the slide, the new database name is students. Then you need to add the ID, and add another one with the name. Okay, add another one with the address, add another one with the DOB, date of birth. So let me check whether it is as the same as the example. Okay, we have matrix number, name, address, and DOB. Okay, so if we forgotten one field, so we just simply click add here, matrix number. Okay, matrix. So we have matrix number, name, address, DOB. Okay. We have matrix number, name, address, DOB, and then okay. So these are the items or the field that will be available in table students. Somehow or other, you need to adjust this Data type. ID is yes, obviously this one is integer. Name, you should change to varchar with 50. Okay, fine. Address also you need to change to varchar. Varchar is for text. Okay, to include text. And you have date. Okay, date for the DOB. And the matrix number also we choose the varchar. Okay, maybe this one you need to change to something like 10 character only. And then the ID is incremental. The ID is incremental value. The ID is incremental value. So that's one way that you can set the incremental value. Auto increment. Sorry. Auto increment. Default. Go to default and set auto increment. Go to default. Where's the default? Okay, here. Click this default and go to auto increment. For the ID, go to default, set as auto increment. And then you can save this. Here the button save is appearing on the bottom of the table. Click save. Okay, so you need to define ID as the where is it? A new index primary. So right click the ID, create new index and set it as primary key. And then later you can save it again. Okay, now we have a new table named students. So try to populate with a new content or record. Create new. Sorry. Create new. Oh, sorry, it's not here. Zoom it first. You need to go to the data, this tab, the data tab. And then you need to right click, insert row. Okay. So insert row name. Just provide a new Ali, let's say Ali, address, Bandar Seri Putra, date of birth, okay, something like this, and null, matrix number 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, something like that. Then need to press enter. Okay, so because ID is auto incremental, you just press enter, it will provide the new number. And then add another row, insert row, just provide the name, then the date of birth. This is just merely dummy data. Then another name, new data, Kajang. And then the number, matrix number. Okay, so you have something like this. You have something like this. So last one, reside in Johor. Okay, with the new matrix number, sorry, 1 2 3 4 5 9. So this is how can we populate dummy data into your table. So you have, make sure to remember this. Your database name is new system. My database name is new system 2, and the table is students. So how can we connect this database to the PHP? Okay, so now your database is ready. Your database is ready. You can check this database using the where's the SQL command? Query. Okay, so something like select star from students. So let's say if you'd like to test, you can execute this command, select star, something like this. Okay, so the database, the table is ready. The table name is students. So now we go to the PHP. So you need to make sure to use, I prefer to create a new database, sorry, a new folder. Okay, we need to add a new folder, open folder, but the folders need to be inside laragon /www. And then in the www, you go to create a new folder, name new system 2, new system 2. So in this new system 2, once you create new folder, pick this new folder and select folder. So in this new system 2, what we're going to add is the database connectivity. The database connectivity information, as mentioned in the slide, okay, this you need to provide the server name, username, password, and the DB name. Server name, username, password, and DB name. Server name. Server name is basically server name is basically a variable. You need to have the server name, the username of the database, by right its root, and then the password of the database. Mine is ABCD1234. That one is mine. Yours supposed to be left null. Okay, yours supposed to be left null. If you use the default password, the default password is null. So mine I have set to something like this. Okay, and then we have the database name. The DB name, as we prepare the database as new system 2. Mine is new system 2. And then we use the MySQLi connect to connect to the database server. So by right, we'll be using this, something like this. Okay, dbcon. I'm using con. Okay, con, just con only. Okay, and then we run MySQLi_connect. And we need to provide these 4 parameters: the server name, server name and the username. As available in the this list or declaration. Server name, the password, and lastly the DB name. I'm using DB name. Okay, the DB name. So this is how you connect to your database, and then you may check. So I will save this inside the laragon www new system 2. Save as dbconnect.php. dbconnect.php. This one first. So I'll be naming this PHP script as dbconnect.php. So the name is dbconnect.php. And then I would like to check whether the connection is established or not by using this one. By using this if not connected. If the database connection is not established, this is not established, okay, you simply provide a message notification. That means you terminate or exit. Fail. Okay, something like this. Okay, connection fail. The connection cannot be established if one of these 4 parameters is not available. So let's say you don't provide the password, or you provide the wrong password. So let's see something like this. You did provide the password, but somehow it's wrong. Then this one you can test by going to the localhost. As usual, to test your PHP code, you need to go to the localhost and go inside the folder, which is the new system 2, dbconnect.php. See? DB name, okay, you have a variable that is not connected, and then connection failed. Okay, so you have connection using the password, but the password is wrong. DB name. So let's say I provide the actual password. And then you will see this is blank. Why? Because the checking is if the connection failed. But if let's say, although this is not a good approach, but you can do some sort of notification here saying that connection established. Something like that. You can also provide some sort of notification, just like this. Okay, DB. This is merely the DB. Okay, So now you have the DB connection established, DB connection failed. So if not connected, the execution will be exiting the script, because die means you exit the script exit the execution, or else you will see, okay, DB connection established. Else means connected. Okay, okay, this is not established. Cannot be established. The first option, cannot be established, not connected, not okay, not connected. Else means the connection established. So this is how you connect to your database. This is how you connect to database, and then later I will be showing how to retrieve the data from the database, from the table students. Okay, so we need to fetch the data from here, from the table students. So how can we fetch this data? Okay, you can go create new file, create new file. So this file, this time around, we will be having a file name, let's say listing.php. So after this file name, okay, you will be naming this file as listing.php. Again, I would like to emphasize that you must provide this file, save it inside the laragon www new system 2. Okay, make sure you group these files in the same folder, new system 2. And what we should do in this file listing is something like this. I provided the code inside the inside this. So you need to embed the SQL command. We need to embed the SQL command. Okay, we need to embed the SQL command. Inside the listing.php, we need to include the dbconnect.php, because every time you need to connect to your database, you need to provide the MySQLi connect .php. MySQLi connect function. So where is that statement? It's inside the dbconnect.php. So you can recycle that as a statement by include the dbconnect.php. Then you provide the the SQL command, and then we run the SQL command to the database. So first we include the dbconnect.php, dbconnect.php. And then, as mentioned in this example or select statement, you can include the SQL command or embed something like that. Select student. So I would like to select not all. I would like to select the ID, name, and matrix number. So let's say we just select ID, name, and matrix number. Okay, we select ID, name, and matrix number. ID, name, and matrix number from students. So we have the ID, name, and matrix numbers selected or retrieved from the table students. And after that, you need to execute this SQL command to the database. Execute SQL command. So to execute SQL command embedded inside the PHP script, you need to write this is a variable result. Okay, result is a variable that will be holding all the MySQL. Will be holding the data as retrieved in this function MySQL query. MySQLi query. So MySQLi query, you need to query to the database and with the SQL command SQL as mentioned above. Then after that, okay, after that you need to fetch the data. So let's say we assume that there's data inside this execution. This result, you have data or you have records. Okay, let's assume that. So how can we fetch the record from the result? Okay. Okay, first you check how many rows available. How many rows? How many record fetch? Though again, this is might be not a good practice, but you can check. Okay, the record number by using the mysqli underscore num rows okay, against the result. If you have only 10 result, then this execution will be faster, but somehow or other, if your data is too much, then you will get setback. Okay, you will get setback in your MySQLi num rows query. So if it is more than 0, then we will be displaying the content. So how to display the records? You need to use the while statement. While means loop. Okay, so each iteration you will be retrieving one row on one record. Okay, one record using the mysqli fetch associate. So, against the result. But bear in mind that result is the content of rows. So you might see one row or several rows. Okay. And then for each iteration, I would like to display the field. Echo. For each iteration, I would like to display the ID. So how can we display this ID? By using the associative array for the row. Because we know the field name is ID. And then we go for the name and address. Okay, using the same line, I would like to display the name, the matrix number, matrix number. The name is based on this, okay, it's based on the field name, and the last one is the name. Okay, something like this. So this is the end of while. Okay, providing this kind of command will help you a lot. And if numbers. Okay, so we assume that we have data inside. Okay, we assume that we have data inside. Okay, we assume we have a lot of data inside. By right, we have 4 data or record. And then after that, we just go to the listing.php. So we have listing.php, click here, and you will see this kind of data display. Okay, so the database is established, and you can fetch the ID for student number 1, 2, 3, and 4 as available inside this database. So we have Ali, Ahmad, Minar, and Mini. So this database or this table, which is available inside the database, is fetched by the SQL or the PHP script and displayed inside this browser. So that is what we would like to achieve on this tutorial. So we have a new database, create a new table named students, and retrieve this content from the PHP site. That's what we want to show you in this tutorial. Thank you.